Hey guys, welcome back to another Real Talk Sunday. This episode may hit home with a few of you, but we first and foremost want to state that we're not here to judge anybody. That is the last thing we want to do, and that's the last thing we're doing. A conversation came up at work this past week, and this is what has led us to this actual episode here. We were just discussing what we were going to be doing the weekend and just chit chat, but it became quite clear to me that majority of the people in the conversation had no intentions or had no plans for the weekend. Basically, just go home, sit in the recliner, watch TV, and just chill out, which is perfectly fine from time to time. But if that becomes a habit or just becomes our life in general, that's not necessarily a good thing in a lot of different aspects. You become less active as a human being altogether. Your mind becomes less active, your body becomes less active, and so that's why we wanted to use this episode today on our Real Talk Sunday to kind of address that and share with you a few insights that has come to us over the years and hopefully motivate a few people.
I'm finna unmotivate our blue dog. Come here, Red. Get out. She's stepping on
She's
our
digging
mustards.
up our plant of mustards. You better come back over here, girl.
Yeah, you better get in trouble. You better get over here and talk to the folks.
But a lot of people, you know, we get up, us included now. We are working class people. We both work 40 hours a week. TJ drives a log truck. I deliver parts all day, so I'm also driving all day. But majority of us in the human population get up, do a 40-hour-a-week job, you know, and we're in the work grind, and that does take up majority of our life. So it needs to be something you enjoy, and that doesn't always fit the bill with some of us, and sometimes you have to kind of get in a job that you don't necessarily enjoy to get by or to step up to another job, and we understand that. And we can't say that we enjoy our job every day, especially him. I mean, the logging world comes with trials and tribulations daily, I can promise you.
And
But
just traveling on the road in general, you deal with a bunch of stuff. We both do. Other people.
But we're not doing things that we necessarily have to do. It's important to keep your mind and your creativity going. And homesteading, for us, like we have mentioned in past episodes, it's more about a mindset than anything else in the world. It's, no, you don't have to have a ton of acreage. You don't have to live out in the middle of nowhere. You don't have to live off the grid to necessarily say you're homesteading. It's more about the mindset of self-sufficiency and providing for yourself and learning new skills every single day. And it doesn't take a ton of acreage. Some of you, I understand you live in the suburbs or you're inside the city limits, and you say, well, how in the world, you know, but you got to start thinking small, whether it's just raising some quail under your carport or growing microgreens or doing
tomatoes in your flower bed.
Yeah, starting a raised bed, just one single raised bed, just start there, or vertical gardening. One of the other hurdles that a lot of people face is lack of education or lack of knowledge on certain things. Let's just say quail, for example. Okay? You can raise quail for eggs and meat. You can raise quail to self-sustain, to provide your family with food on the table. All right? That doesn't mean that everybody in the world automatically knows how to raise quail. There's YouTube, there's forums, there's books, there's community, people in your community that I'm sure would love, you know, to educate you on the matter. Like me, for example, I ride around all day long delivering parts. So I am constantly listening to audiobooks, or I'll turn on a YouTube video about something that I want to learn about, put it face down in the passenger seat where I'm just listening to the video. There's tons of ways to freely educate yourself on so many topics this day and time in the digital world. I mean, I promise having access, it's there. It's just having the want to learn. But I am constantly learning all day, every day. As I'm driving, I'm listening, I'm, you know, engaging into what I'm listening to. Why not? Why not keep your mind strong and healthy and learn new skills? You know, and some people's afraid of failure, like if they were to start something, but you never learn without failing. I don't care what you do in life. Everything that we do out here on the homestead, from the chickens, the quail, the gardening, everything, even hunting.
Yeah, I've been hunting my whole life, and I missed a deer this morning. I upset about it, but I failed. I know now I shouldn't have took that long of a shot, or you know, I mean, not just deer hunting, but gardening. We plant some certain stuff like where you're sitting at right there. We planted our potatoes there year before last, and they got a little bit of disease on them, and we tried it again in the same spot. They got coming there again this year, not quite as bad. So we know next year we're gonna plant our potatoes in a different spot because of what's in the soil, and we got to do research on it.
We did do research on it, and we did study the disease, and we know now what to amend the soil with to try to get that disease eradicated. And
I've been planting potatoes my whole life, and that just popped up. I mean,
but without that failure, you have no incentive to learn a new way. And even as something as simple as fishing, you guys know that we love going and catching catfish, setting trot lines, setting limb lines. That's trial and error in itself. You learn what baits to use in certain areas, but you would not learn any of that without failing first. Here's what we want to challenge you guys to do today. We want you to sit down, take a long, hard look at your life, the big picture of your life. What do you come home from work? What do you do? Or do you instantly go in, get out of that uniform or whatever you may be in, sit down in that recliner, turn on that TV, and we challenge you to actually put the time in to see how much time you're wasting. And like I say, there's nothing wrong with watching TV from time to time, or, you know, taking a break, or just, you know, engrossing yourself in the TV or a movie or what have you. But to do that day in and day out, I think that you lose sight of how much time is slipping by, and how much opportunity is slipping by. And once that time's gone, you never get it back. It's gone. That's it. You only dealt one of these lives. Use it wisely.
and you can't use the excuses dark. It's dark. We stay off the highway a long ways. We're not in town. We're out in the country. There ain't no street lights, and our security light don't even work. But we got plug-in lights and some Christmas lights hanging out there.
Outdoor lights.
Yeah, I call them Christmas outdoor lights. And we light it up out here at night. We build a fire. And we cook pretty much everything we cook outside. I mean, there's a few side dishes we'll do on the inside sometimes when it's bad weather, but we stay outside. It ain't just good for you physically, but it's good for you mentally, just to be outdoors.
It gets you back to nature, and it gets you back to where you're really and truly supposed to be.
It's the real National Geographic outside, not watching on TV. But it's just little small stuff you miss. A hummingbird fly by. I mean, it's good for you, good for the soul.
It is. And another thing that was brought up in that conversation at work that led us to this episode is we don't have any recliners in our house. Not one single recliner. We don't have a living room. We don't have a couch. We do not have a TV because we don't have a living room. Now, we do have a TV in our bedroom, and the kids upstairs have a TV, but our TV downstairs rarely gets turned on. More so in the winter than any other time, because, you know, the shorter days do bring you in a little bit earlier than the long summer days. We may watch one episode of something before we go to bed, maybe twice a week in the winter when the days are really short. In the summertime, it's a rarity for the bedroom TV to be turned on at all.
The whole summer. Because
usually by the time we come in the summer times, the days being as long as they are, we come in and we go to bed. But we're constantly doing something. We are constantly doing something. And we don't say that in a boastful manner. We are not in any way trying to come across that way. We're just stating that there's always something to do. There, always. And, you know, maybe one of your hurdles in life is the partner that you may be with. And I'm not saying go out and find you a new partner or get divorced. I'm not saying that at all, but when you sit down to do this life evaluation, sit down with your partner. Talk about it. Ask them what's something that would interest you. What is an activity that we can do together outside to get us motivated, to get us active, you know? What is something that would encourage us as a couple, as a unit, to proceed in starting this activity and continuing this activity and it motivating us to stay active the older we get. And if you have a partner that is just dead set that they're going to stay in that recliner, then there's nothing that says that you can't take yourself outside or that you can't find a friend to do outside activities with or another family member to do activities with. You know, just sit down, list out what you think are hurdles. And I promise you, you will find, if you search and you are looking hard enough, you will find a way over that hurdle. Always.
Yeah, like she said, just like take for example this tractor. It's old. It's a 1960-something International B414, and I would love to have a newer tractor. I've looked at them. I'd like to have me a bucket. I'd like to have power steering. I hit a fence post down there a couple of days ago and bent it up because it ain't got power steering. And diesel leak, oil leak, hydraulic fluid leak, and just add a little bit every now and again. But every time I hit this key over it cranks up and it gets the job done. You can see behind us, it's a little small area, but with this old baby right here, it gets the job done. I'd love to have something nicer, and maybe one day I will. But even if this don't work, we had a Ford tractor. The motor went out in it. I traded something. I mean, this come along, got it. But even when we didn't have this, we got a little Troy-Bilt tiller, and we tilled this whole spot up. And it was actually, it reminded me, put back memories in my head of my childhood, walking in my daddy's footsteps behind the tiller. I could tell I was a little bit sore the next day from doing this much tilling, but there's always a way if you got the willpower to do it and the want to do it. So
absolutely. And if it comes down to it, take your recliners, go lock them up in a storage building. Take the TV out of the house, at least unplug it. Give it a week. Use your imagination. Come up with something to do to get you out of the house, out of the recliner, out from in front of the TV. Whether you take yourself to the state park or any local public land that you have access to, learn about medicinal herbs, learn about edible plants, do the research, watch a few YouTube videos or an audio book. Learn about the different herbs that we have and the different plants that we have right here at our fingertips that we overlook every single day. Just to get you an activity to get going, get the ball rolling, because once you start, I promise you, it's a domino effect. You may start with 1 or 2 chickens, and then before you know it, you've got a whole flock of chickens, and you've moved on to quail, you've moved on to meat birds, turkeys, ducks. Once you get your mind engaged, once you get it in that creative mode, and your hands join in, and you're constantly doing things and producing things on your own, that feeling
so much more satisfying.
That feeling of satisfaction, that feeling of fulfillment will be enough motivation to keep you going, I promise. But I know that the hardest thing is the start. I hope this video and this talk encourages you to at least stop long enough to evaluate your life. Make sure that you're not just wasting precious time that you're not going to get back. And we're thankful enough. We live in a very tiny house, and that's another thing. I had everybody in the world, including most of my own family members, tell me that there was no way this house would work for me, that it was too small. It's 1,100 square foot. But I had everybody doubt, say, no way, because I have 2 kids. But now this house, on majority of the nights that we are in this house, it's me and him, It's my two, Cohen and Sadie, and usually Sadie's boyfriend Lane and a lot of times Cohen's girlfriend will all pile up in there in the kitchen. We'll all cook. We'll have a good time.
Dancing.
That's if it's cold. If it's warm outside, we're usually outside under the deck here cooking, and it brings you closer together. You know the song, Love Grows Best in Tiny Houses? I can vouch for that 110%. That is absolute truth. Learn to love the company that you have and learn to live your life with that company. Don't just be passing each other in the halls or to go to your bedroom to watch TV or shut the doors. In fact, my two children, Cohen is 20 now and Sadie is 17, and they have yet at my house to sleep with a door between them. They have their own little sleeping nooks, and they've never had a door between them here. So, yeah, they fuss and fight like any brother and sister, but at the end of the day, them two have an extraordinary love for one another, and they would do anything in the world for each other. And it makes my heart smile to see that and to know that majority of that came from the closeness of this family and the time we spend together, and that we're not just locking ourselves away, we're not just all glued to a screen somewhere, and it just makes life fulfilling. It just does. I won't go into the long drawn out part of, you know, this, we touched on it, but the satisfaction, just like right now, you know, we're in the fall months, we've got fall greens in the garden. A lot of times, us two and Sadie and Lane, they'll go out there and we'll all be picking the collards or the greens and the turnips, and we'll go inside, and Sadie, just like one day this past week, me and her was at the kitchen sink washing them together and, you know, stripping them together, tearing them in pieces. That's life lessons that she's learning, and that's life lessons that she will pass down to her children, and makes my heart smile.
Yep, it does. Just like teaching the kids like to hunt. They provide their own meat or
Absolutely.
fish. They bringing that in.
In fact, his son's down. He came down last weekend. He's down again this weekend for the hunting.
And that's the more we pile up in our little tiny house. So we'll throw air. I mean, they sometimes we'll have, when my son comes down, he'll bring all his buddies and they'll come over here and sleep when they duck hunt. Sometimes I mean, we'll have a ton
There'll
of
be
people.
just a string of bodies up there on the top floor on air mattresses on the floor, but
everybody's smiling.
they don't mind a bit, and it's just good times. It's real good times. But don't let these screens and modernization and technology strip you away of that connection with your family, with your children, with your partner, because again, it's time you're not going to get back. Once it's gone, it's gone. That's it. That's all we get. So make use of it. And again, I hope this talk, we in no means want to come across as that we're judging anybody. We just, like I said, that conversation at work, it was just an eye-opener to me. I even, that day when I talked to him on my lunch break, I was like, I've got our next real talk. I've got what we need to talk about. Because it hit me so hard that majority of the people just are in that, they're stuck in a rut. They're stuck in a rut, and it's heartbreaking to me that they don't make more out of their life. And I hope we motivate. If you fall into that category, if nothing else, I hope it just makes you take a long, hard look and reevaluate how you spend your life. You don't got nothing to add?
You took it away. There's something she was passionate about. She talked to me about it in the middle of the week, and we had a long conversation about it sitting there in the kitchen. Like she says, all we got the kitchen and we got the dining table, and that's it downstairs. Besides our bedroom and the washroom.
Yep.
That's it. But anyway, we had that conversation, and she was really want to talk about it. So I ain't said a whole lot, but I agree 100%. We've already had this conversation between us, and she wanted to share it with y'all. So
And your children learn by watching. They learn by watching. Their behavior is a good bit learned. So our children never see us slow down. They never see us stop. They never see us stop engaging with one another. Or,
and most time when they realize and see it, they'll end up joining helping.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that's what it's all about.
Yep, passing along, generation to generation. I'm doing what my dad taught me, and my son is doing what I know. And
all the women in my family, from generations on up back to my great grandmother, I was fortunate enough to know her before she passed. She was, I think, 93, and my grandmother was 92, and they were both wide open. They were wide open. All the females on my mother's side, my mother included,
yes,
we're just fast-paced, hands-on, working women, and we can't be still. We can't sit still. And I guess it was just bred into me, but I'm very fortunate and thankful that I have that gene, and I wouldn't trade it for nothing in the world, because, like I said, you never stop learning. As long as you're active, you never stop learning. But we'll shut up now and let y'all get back to it, and hope we motivate you. But I want to leave you with these 3 questions. Number 1, if you live the next 5 years the same way as the last 5, would you be proud? Number 2, what's one skill you've always said you wanted to learn but haven't? Number 3, what is one tiny step you can start this week that your future self will thank you for? So we're going to end on that. And I do want you to do one thing for me. Drop one small step you're committing to this week in the comments. Thanks for watching, guys, and hanging out with us. We appreciate y'all.
Y'all have a good week. Till next time. Thanks, guys.